Hello and welcome everyone to CADEsport Thursday Racing. I'm Beth York and I'm with
I'm Doc Haskell! Thursday!
Thursday. How you doing today, Doc?
This is fabulous.
Awesome. We've got a great day of racing. You know, this is going to be a great day. We've got 3 races: Summit Island, Cape Fondo, and Barnyard Velo. 1, 2, 3. And we'll be taking a look here first at that first race here, 4.7 kilometers, Summit Island, medium difficulty. Now, this one, definitely, if you haven't raced it, there's this brutal climb at the top. Unless they've changed it, that finish line, you've got to save something in your legs, and there are some dangerous spots out on course. So that one will be a really super fun one coming out of the gates. Super important on that race. But after they finish that, they have to save some legs because, Chris, race 2.
Oh my gosh. And I was going to say, on number 1, it reminds me a lot of the girls I dated in high school. Short, but dangerous. The second one, the Cape Fondo, nothing of the sort. It's going to be just pain the whole time through. Very little, well, actually nothing in the way of power-ups. 20 kilometers, long effort. People are going to have to stay in the draft. We're going to have to come up with crazy things to say about them because there's not going to be a lot of drama, we think.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, we might have some drama there. I mean, just people have saved their legs, right? Like, that's definitely a test of the engine. So it'll be interesting to see how what tactics come at play when you don't have the power-ups and supers and also a lot of tight turns to kind of navigate. So you can see there. And then moving on to race 3, after that, we'll have a nice, super short 1.4 kilometer race. Again, medium difficulty. And on this one, Barnyard Velo, 3 quantum shifts. We will have just dirt surface. It could be extra slippery when on those dirty woods. And the quantum shift is one of the power-ups that allows you to sort of fade through other players and not crash out. So it's pretty important. So here we are for race 1. What is at play, Chris?
You know what? The corner capers, we've seen those. They keep you from sliding out. You take a corner a little bit too fast. They're going to have 2 of those. They last 20 seconds. The cooldown on those is, of course, a minute. So if you use them wisely and you don't overcook a corner, you're going to be fine. 2 lazy boys as well. Those don't last nearly as long, but while you're active, you get 421 watts regardless of how you pedal. You can clip out and just do one-legged drills for that 10 seconds. Do what you want. But race 3 has the quantum shift because you can be dodging hay bales.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty useful. And it is interesting to note here that these are limited in quantity. They will not refill. So that strategy there is important. And if you haven't seen Lazy Boy at play, you can imagine Lazy Boy. We might see some combos there in race 1. That's going to start in about 15 seconds here. So here is a view from our copter, and you can see all of the roads here on Summit Island, twists and turns and bridges and corners, and it starts on a little bit of a decline. People get up to speed, but there is danger at that first corner. So they're coming across the straightaway here, jockeying for position. They were that transparent just for the first 10 seconds of the race, and now they come around the corner and they're going to start.
Over the edge! The Cade Transportation Department not finished with this structure yet. Another one goes over the edge, and it is a long fall. Love the ragdoll effect on all avatars, but my goodness, that is crazy. Sebastian stays at the front. Frank not very far behind him, technically right with him. And Renee a little bit further down, but Pedro goes off, and he's going to fall a long way. Frank doing some kind of weird little aero bike thing. Maybe overthinking it just a little bit. Christian's going to come around him on the outside. We've got our first trio off the front here. Elevated, trying not to fall into the abyss. My hands are sweaty.
Yeah,
just thinking about
there's
it.
There's definitely something very vertigo about this. There are, some places where you won't fall off the edge, but it definitely keeps you on your toes. You can see here back on the aerial position, we do have our riders on their rider cam. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. The yellow highlighting means that's the rider that we're on board with. Those red, those red on cue.
Seriously, like a pile of puppies in the corner. They just dive in. And
yeah,
a lot of people go down in that process.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Chris, someone is at the front and they're like basically like just overcooking it and everyone's sticking with them thinking, oh, they must know what the corner speed is. They must know. Assume the person in front of you is playing a trick on you and doesn't know the corner speed. That's good rule here. You see Pedro slid out just a little bit there, but corner caper by Ben.
That's right. Knows what he's doing. Uses that corner caper. Is going to last for 20 seconds. Use it where you can't, and he still overcooks it. Goes down. Ends up getting back to roughly where he started. So I guess it wasn't a total loss. At least he didn't lose 10 spots. You see the CADE Transportation department over there with an unfinished bridge rising into nothing. You got to be careful in this area. He's going to pump that corner caper a little bit early, Pedro does, but he's got to
slow it down
right now.
Oh,
yeah, he's taking a big old swim down there. Water everywhere. That's at least a little bit better.
Yeah, the drop wasn't quite so far for your stomach to turn up in knots. But that's the thing about using the corner caper. It does protect you through the corner, but what your natural tendency is to scream through those corners and then not anticipate the corner up the road. You do have to bleed that speed off before you get to the next corner. So protects you from falling out, but it doesn't necessarily serve you if you're overcooking it. So Sebastian here off the front, Vibeke just 4 seconds back with Christian, and then a few seconds back from that is Vanessa. So the top four have changed with the exception of Sebastian.
Yep, not nearly as aggressive on the Sebastian, taking his time right there. The middle of this race brought to you by Fail Blog today, showing you how to overcook a corner and dive off the bridge. But Sebastian just tapping it out comfortably right here is going to get up. Vibeke finally catches on now. Let's see if they're going to stay together. She's tapping out a nice, comfortable pace here. Not sure what they've got left by way of power-ups, but they want to use it comfortably right here. Vibeke maybe taking a little bit of a leap here. Sebastian saying, I think I'm comfortable at this pace. I think you're probably going to crash into something, and I'm going to ride by you while I look down and see you swimming in the water or stuck in a tree somewhere.
Yeah, that was one lap down, 2.3 kilometers to go. So there will be some lessons learned and some takeaways there. I think that this is where Vibeke has to remain calm. She has to stay focused. It's a short race. It's a mental race. Certainly anyone behind her right now is sort of hoping that she loses her focus. I'm rooting for you, Vibeke. Sebastian will be right there ready, just 2 seconds back. And I think that, Jeff goes down further on the line there, on board here with Vanessa. Coming up to close that gap on Sebastian. Very strategic and cagey of Vanessa, who saw
Renee again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Renee crashing more than his predecessors. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And then Sebastian just took advantage of the fact that Vibeke did have a little bit of crash, but she's still holding it at number 2. You can see Christian here coming into the group as well, saying, okay, not to be counted out. There's only 1.6 kilometers to go, and it is a dangerous 1.6 kilometers, Chris. I don't want to fall off that.
Nope. That is death on either side. Now, what I find interesting is sometimes you'll notice the pedaling just stops for some of those top riders up there. As they're approaching the corner, as they get through the corner, they're not pedaling much. Maybe they're pedaling out of it a little bit once they feel like they've survived that corner. But Frank just sitting in the middle here, just trying to maybe hope that there's a bunch of crashes in front of him, and there are, and he's going to eat back a little bit of that 9 seconds to Christian. Who's just in front of him. Only 20 seconds separates first from fifth at this point.
Yes, and then Sebastian here with the corner caper. One thing I want to say with 1 kilometers left on this
gonna
map
run out.
is that, and he's got to slow it down. It's got to slow it down.
Unless he's going to end up in the water.
Perfectly executed on that, because he just ran out on the last corner, had the straightaway, and now the hill. Here he goes. Pops up that power up and heads right up that's the lazy boy, as we know. Gives him 420 watts, so he can just hold that power. Vanessa on the chase, just a couple seconds back here, saying, oh my goodness, I gotta get there. 8 seconds back, pardon me. Vibeke goes down.
No.
So close.
Christian with the corner caper passes her at that time, yeah. And Frank and Home are both using theirs. Oh, yes. Oh, fail blog. Here we go.
Whoop.
Vibeke over the edge into the water.
This course, little known fact, maybe lots of known fact, Ben Chillian actually designed this course for CADEsport, one of our really super engaged racers and users, and he actually designed this course. 0.3 kilometers to go. Sebastian comes across the line first, and maybe, will Vanessa go? Go, Vanessa, go. She's digging in 674 watts. Will she be able to have enough road in front of her? No, but that was a valiant. Oh, she does have more road to come around. Don't count me out yet, Vanessa says. This is a lesson in never say die. She is cooking it up that climb here. 733 watts there.
Yes, and she's going to come under the banner first, or the arch in this case, and find herself at the top of this. Uses her last lazy boy to get up there. Sebastian just wanting to survive to the end, and then it starts. Now, Ben, I don't be too proud of your invention just yet. I believe it was Madame Guillotine who invented some kind of cutting device. Just be careful what you create, is all I'm saying. Bibica gets up in there and is going to maybe steal that. Renee survives somehow. And Frank Garcia climbing up here with Jeff just to finish out this top 8. And we'll very shortly see the active finishing board so we can understand where everybody's at.
All right, so at the end of our first race today, live results, Vanessa #1. She took a third spot in the racing on Tuesday, and today she is saying, I have something to prove. Sebastian in second, Christian third, Renee, Homer, Vibeke, Frank, Jeff, Ben, and the hits are still coming. One thing here with race 1 is the short race. It was a technical race, kind of a warm-up race, so I think some of these folks know they have a 20-kilometer race ahead of them without any supers or power-ups, so they really might have been taking some strategy here. I didn't see Sebastian chase down Vanessa when she came around him in the last 0.3 kilometers there, so he was probably just saving his legs. So I would be worried about Sebastian and Christian in race number 2 because they're going to have a little bit of legs that they might have saved here. Race number 2,
let's celebrate a little bit. I think this is Vanessa's first win in a CADE event, and we cannot let that go unnoticed. Well done. Yeah, fantastic.
Congratulations, Vanessa. And now she knows that she's got a target on her back. Right, Doc?
That is right. And you know what? I think she's going to be just happy with that performance. Probably going to play it safe in the second one, not try to push it too much. But to Ben, who created this course and yet finished 9th, a little message for you. Do you want to play with fire, Scarecrow? Is that what you want to do? You want to create something like this and then see your monstrosity take its revenge? My goodness, there were more crashes than a Fast and Furious movie in that. I don't think I would survive that.
It was pretty exciting to see the new animations fall off the cliff. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for calling that out. In this next race, it's all going to be about drafting, Doc. It's all going to be about drafting because there are no supers in this race. They have to use Together Tech and Pro Power that will allow sort of racers of different abilities to stay together, but that doesn't mean it's easy for anyone because it's your max effort that counts, and we will see who is ready to bring it in a 20-kilometer race. You can see the little profile there of, basically of the elevation here. You can say we've got a few rollers off the front, a nice flat straight area, and then a big climb, and then a pretty much roll to the end. So here we are. The race starts in 2-1, and off they go, jockeying for position here.
Yep, Christian and Ben are trying to get out front here. It's going to be a long, thin line pretty early. I don't know why everybody decides they just want to sprint at the beginning. I think it would be a lot more fun to just sit in a group for a little while and then take off. But somebody has to just be that instigator. It's like the bone at the old Greyhound races. Someone's got to chase that thing out in front, and they're lining in quite nicely to do it. If you look at their heart rates, they're pretty chill at this point. Power being put out is pretty consistent, and I think we're going to see with a little bit of variance, most of these folks stick around until that climb.
Yeah, and I think what coming out of the gate fast is something what these virtual riders in an esports environment are kind of used to. But like as you said, it's not always necessary. But I do think they try to shake off a few riders or just take a punch right off the gate, off the top. Right, let's just punch the legs. Get everybody a little bit fatigued off the top, and then see if you can kind of maintain a steady power. But with the drafting here, this is not what most people might think would be a time trial kind of distance or a little bit longer. It's a road race that is going to be all about lane position, tactics, and strategy. So I wonder if we are going to see any team tactics. It does look like we've got Peter Kastrup here in front, Team CCC. He's got the yellow jersey on his rollers and in the game. Always impressive to me to see him.
We could see a crash. He's on the rollers. We want to make sure that we can bring that back up in the replay if necessary. That's pretty impressive. I have had a few roller crashes myself. You get a little excited, and it just goes that way. No headphones for Peter, so we're not gonna take him off his game by doing this. But he's just kind of tapping out a steady pace here, seeing if anybody wants to go with him. I don't think we're gonna see any crashes in the game today, but if somebody does go down, we will mock them. I'm looking at you,
we'll be sure to call it out and hope we get the replay on it, right? You can see here off the front there, Peter's 566 watts. Like, let's talk a little bit about the display here for our viewers. I'll start us off here. The first column is the gap between one rider and the next. You can see the position next to that, the flag, the country of origin, the rider's name, their speed, their relative heart rate compared to each other. Again, that's a normalized heart rate in the sense that everybody has the same basis of heart rate, so that you can really say that 196 to me is 196 to you. And then the Pro Power watts that allows everybody to ride together with their max effort. And really, this group is starting to get a little bit of a lead between the chase pack.
Yeah, that is starting to group out here a little bit as we take a look. You see that power when we look at the individual person's view. Green, good safe speeds, right? These are all related to the speedometer around corners and how to avoid crashing. That green bar, you're in a pretty good spot. Yellow, there's potential sliding if you don't do it right, or you're trying to stomp on the pedals and all of a sudden you lose traction. And that red, that's danger zone. And the further you get into the danger zone, the more guaranteed it is that you're going to trigger that beautiful ragdoll animation and flip into the abyss.
Yeah, and this is one of the recent evolutions in the gameplay with this display to sort of like give you a little bit of data visualization of what's going on, so that it's easy to look and go red, scary, green, good, and really your brain does kind of come down to a caveman when your heart rate's 196. Having that visual representation of your speed and what puts you in danger is very key.
I'm glad it's not the shifting scale of amber, a la the Homeland Security threat level, which you can't make much sense of it. My goodness, Mark Allard Will here with an unprovoked attack, and this unprovoked attack brought to you by Will Smith, who reminds you to keep his wife's name out your dang mouth. So Mark is not going to get away from this. He's going to get back with a couple more, but all of this animation, Disney style here, maybe DreamWorks, is going to create a much smaller group of potential winners on this 20-kilometer race, which we are only 3.7 into as we pass the Windmill of Doom.
Yeah, and you can see here that Vibeke is trying to close that gap. All the riders there in a line, one behind the other, benefiting from the drafting of the peloton. I do know that there is wind in the game. I'm not sure if there's wind at play today, but those riders, as they group up, one of the things that's really interesting too, to even maximize your efficiency even more, is lane position when you know the wind direction. So right now, I'm assuming there's no wind. That's why they're out in a long line. Vibeke really putting the effort in to try to close it down, and they're trying to shake it off, stay together. But again, Mark is still out in front with his nose in the wind, and he on his camera he did look like he was working pretty hard during that attack. But his heart rate is still up there, but it started to settle down just a little bit, and he's maybe trying to set the pace here. I know one of my tactics is when I feel like I might get dropped, I actually go to the front and try to slow everybody down. So, that's a tactic that he might try to control the pace here of the race. Here's our friend Ben. There's the name and the face to the designer of the Summit Island race that we just did. 9th place. We won't say that too loud. Team Hive, but 4 times.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that 9th place? You said 9th place. Oh, in the last one, Ben got 9th place on the course that he designed. I just had to make sense of that in my mind.
Yeah. I just kind of put it into an aside, but here, so I think that like right now he's poised in a position. He is a rider that has a lot
not in 9th place.
Not in 9th place. He's got a lot of endurance.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
A lot of endurance. Ben is a strategic racer from the Timothy Tamont school of racing here. So I have a feeling that he was experimenting a little bit on Summit Islands. It did take a little bit of a facelift since the last time I saw it, which was really fun to see. All the graphics too, just in this most recent generation of CADEsport, everything is just looking richer, crisper. The lighting is looking really great, that matters. The realism.
And speaking of graphics, Beth. Speaking of graphics, Ben's head. Wonderfully symmetrical, more symmetrical than I would have imagined. So we'll just put that in the pros column. There it is.
No,
a surprisingly symmetrical head. Is that natural, or has he had some work done? Hard to tell.
It is perfect. So Ben here with his nose out in front, comes up out of the saddle and releases that lower back a little bit as he drops some more power to maintain that position here. You can see those cave emojis, thumbs up. There's different ways that these racers can communicate.
Mark trying to take out the whole group, just pressing against him. Mark just going violent on him. Yeah. Okay, Mark. We get it.
He doesn't want to slide back. He's holding his line. We got to respect him for holding the line, but he did get a little aggressive there. Kind of
little escape attempt on the outside there. As we looked up there, up the road, we'll see what happens there. Slid to the other side of the road, put in a little bit of a dig. This is the second group. We're looking at rider essentially 7 down through 11 here in this group. They're all bunched up together, getting some nice aerodynamic advantage, using each other's effort to one another. But they're really locking in there to that that zigzaggy paperboy approach to getting across the road. Normally, I like to save the paperboy for the climb. Little gap forms here as a rider falls back through, but they're going to close that gap pretty quick. Sebastian in this group as well. As we fall down through, we do the roll call here, down to 10th and 11th position. Sebastian behind them, Kay, only 9 seconds. Renee just doing a leisurely solo ride way in the back. Exhausted from having to get back on the bike after the last one. A lot of crashes.
Well, he had to climb up the cliff, and it's a lot of it's cycle hiking, not cyclocross, cycle hiking.
Some might call it no man's land. Erhan calls it Erhan a stand. I don't know what you call it. He's alone there in the middle, but we're back looking at the front of this race, and it is whittled down to 4 now. Shaq doing strong work up there on the front. We've got Peter, we've got Ben, we've got Christian, but Mark has been dropped like an Amazon delivery. He is way off the back now and not going to probably make contact until they hit the climb. Now, he took Frank with him. Actually, Frank's even further behind, waiting for David to come up and pick him up. Like mom picking you up at the bus turnaround at school. Frank's waiting for David to come get him in his minivan and take him home for a fruit snack.
Is it a fruit roll-up, or is it like the squeezy fruit? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, Frank wants to buy the foot, but honestly, it's just getting some of that Costco, just standard fruit snack, fruit leather. Not his favorite.
All natural fruit leather. That's right. So CADEsport 101 here, just a little bit of information about the platform as these racers are sweating it out here, duking it out, is ride and compete together, CADEsports Together Tech with Pro Power. So this means that you can ride with who you want, not just who is in your category, right? So it really expands sort of the community aspect of it, and that way you can really experience that you're included, you're part of the race. We've all been in races before where we're just like feeling like we're not part of the action because our levels are so much different, and then we're just a stretched out individual time trials. That's no fun. So this really helps with the social aspect, along with the in-game comms and the in-game cameras and stuff. That is another way that people really interact and stay connected with their teammates and their opponents. Wide range of devices. Yep, we know that. All kinds of ways to connect to it, and your data here is personal. So one of the things about racing, no one needs to know how old I am or how much I weigh. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. You want me to say it out loud now? I won't do it. I won't do it, Beth.
I opened the door.
No.
Yeah.
I won't do it. I will not disclose those things about you.
Well, you know what? I'm an open book. I really don't worry about that too much. But here we go. Back on the front of the race. Ben is on the front. I think that Shaq. Oh, the Shaq is duking it out up there. So now, one of the things that's nice to see are sort of how these groups form. Shaq, I think.
Peter attacking on the outside right now. Yeah, Peter attacking on the outside. Everybody scooted over to that inside position. He decided he's going to go big or go home. Well, he's actually home right now. But he swings back over and says, well, maybe I'm not feeling it like that. They do chase on. They will chase on. They're going to connect. None of these four riders are going to get disconnected at this point in the race. Ben catches back up. He's got to watch that speed or he'll drift right on by. And they're going to go wheel to wheel here and try to keep it together.
Yeah, I think sometimes Peter has this technique where he is able to apply a lot of power. It's not, I wouldn't call it a full-on attack where he just kind of like drives on the pedals, and I think moving out is sort of like, yeah, I'm going to put on this power and I'm not going to give you the draft. So he's got that gyroscope I'm thinking mounted on his computer, on his handlebars there, so he can kind of just like pop out of the flow, not let anyone draft him, and then pop back in and to see. And it's just little punches that he's taking to try to tire these legs out of his opponents.
Yeah, it makes more sense that that's a gyroscope. When I saw it, I thought, oh, is that a charcuterie board? Little cheeses, little meats, maybe some olives, but it doesn't appear to be.
It's a Ouija board. It's a Ouija board, actually. He's talking to the spirits, the cycling spirits.
You do not want to bring the spirits into this. They're going to argue, and that's never fun. Same four riders off the front here. 10.5 kilometers in, only 9.4 to go. The climb begins pretty close to now, and then we'll see who's got what. This is a big map, and very, very impressive to see. Not sure why they took the low road. Maybe that's Ben's doing. He seems to be a mastermind behind such things. That symmetrical head giving way to his mathematical personality. But as we look at the next group here, we've got the Homer, David, Vanessa, Sebastian, Vivica, and now Frank group. This actually could turn into something. You've got a lot of riders. You've got great aerodynamic advantage. If they can keep this 43-44 pace, they may be able to chip away that less than a minute now to the group up there, especially if they break apart. They're getting a lot more advantage as this big old flight of birds than that smaller flight.
Yeah, I mean, if they are smart and maybe work together and trade some pulls off the front and actually pick up that speed just enough, then 43 versus 47. If they really want to make up ground, they need to look at that speed differential. We've got David Tobin here from the UK, Team West London racing legend. I need to hear more about that, David. But he's part of this group, and maybe the legend can kind of take the lead and say, "Hey, this is how you close a gap."
I haven't heard of him. I haven't heard of him. Is he a real? We'll find out.
We will. We need to get a little more information about what he's legendary for. Maybe he's a lumberjack.
Vanessa, what is this business? Vanessa taking off, just trying to get away.
Vanessa says, "I want my name on screen. I just won the last race." All right.
So greedy, so greedy. It's all about Vanessa. Has to attack those around her. Vivica decides to go with her. That's a good little group there. But don't get rid of this group. You want this group, Vanessa. You want everybody pulling through. You want to like whip those folks. You actually want to be at the back and sled dog that business. You want to be sled dogging, which is my patented technique, which is to sit on the back of the group and go, we could do a little more. We could do a little more. And let them do the work.
You know, that is true, but definitely there's not a lot of I think just like Peter did, like Vanessa did, just doing a little punch, see who follows, and try to get those legs tired of the riders behind you. But you do need to really have to work together a little bit here until you don't, right? This is the front group again with Shaq, Christian, Peter, and Ben. You can see them go into the dark cave here underneath the tunnel. This is a really, really cool thing where you just are like, okay, all right, I'm getting tunnel vision. Spooky. Mm-hmm. This is where the ghosts are. You know, I'm thinking about Peter with his Ouija board there, calling on the spirits in the tunnel.
Some friggin' bats in there too. All right, this is still that group of 4 in the front. Shaq, Peter, Ben, and Christian. Everybody's taking a little bit of turn at the front. Shaq's been at the front a couple times. Peter's definitely been there. Ooh, back into the darkness where there's friggin' bats.
Yeah, lots of bats. Usually they don't bother you because we know they are nocturnal. So right now they're sleeping. But if this was a night race, I would be trying to get through this tunnel as fast as I could. Christian here, on board with Christian. Christian from the United States here, a long-time racer on the platform here in second wheel.
Allegedly, we've never seen his birth certificate, so maybe. We'll find out.
Yeah, we do need to have some verification on that. You know, if it was born in Puerto Rico,
that's all right.
I'll
be a Christian birther here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just cast some aspersions. But for now, he can wear the flag.
Okay. All right.
6
but that
kilometers
group behind. Yeah, 6 kilometers to go, and you can see behind this lead group of Shaq, Peter, Ben, and Christian, we've got Mark 37 seconds back, kind of in no man's land here. You know, he's just enough ahead of the group behind him, so I don't know if he's just saying, I'm going to just hold this position so I can keep this 5th place, because I think at this point you really don't have any incentive with 5 kilometers to go to drop back and use the group. If you can keep your relative speed faster than the group behind you, you will maintain that gap. So if I was Mark and I wanted to hold that position, I would be just looking at my relative speed and just keeping a little bit faster than the group behind me. That's sort of the name of the game, but it is hard work because he's doing twice the work of all these folks that are sitting behind David's wheel, the legend, David Tobin, the legend, with Homer, another legend in many different ways, Sebastian and Vanessa here in a nice tight group. Vanessa's doing the sled dog thing. She was out in front, mounted a little punch,
right.
threw a little punch, now is taking a little recovery. So, this group, I think we're going to have 2 finishes that both the lead and the chase group are going to come down to a sprint. So let's take some wagers. We've got the time, Doc. Let's talk about who our money would be on if there were money on this.
Beth. I'm 30 day. I have my 30 days clean coin with Gambling Anonymous, but I'm willing to wager that coin on the winner of this one. I think it's going to be Ben in that lead group. Shaq, it looks pretty good, but I'll wager my sobriety and this coin on Ben winning it in that lead group. You've seen his head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he can actually go very arrow with it. He just kind of gets
yes,
a
he
good
can.
balance
Yes,
there.
he can.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In this second group, let's talk a little bit about who we might favor in the second group. Now, David is unknown in terms of a sprinter, unless he's a legend for his sprinting ability. We know that all of these racers can really punch it up, but I don't know. Like Vanessa looks like she's kind of slipping back a little bit. Did she spend too much too early? It looks like she's starting to fall back.
Yeah, looking at his actual wiki page, he is famous in West London, but it's actually for his sponge cake. That's delightful, absolutely delightful.
I wonder what his recommended way to eat that with strawberries, fresh strawberries, and cream. or maybe like a lemon glaze? I don't know. What way do you recommend?
My sources say that he's holding that pretty close to the vest. They're sharing in this group up here. Now, Shaq, Ben, and Peter trying to, and Christian, of course, getting close there. 4 kilometers to go. This is not solo territory. You want to wait and attack when they don't expect it. But more importantly, when they can't respond. Ben's smiling a little bit too much. He's got something up his evil sleeve, a little short little evil sleeve. He's got a plan here. But as I told you, I'm wagering my sobriety coin on his win. So don't let me down. Daddy needs new shoes.
Yes. He would like us to stop talking about him now, so that in the case that we might curse him. He's like, stop talking about me. Talk about someone else. All right, so here we are on board with Ben. You can see his smile. This is what the racing is all about. Let me just tell you. So how many times I've stared at my screen, looking at Ben, looking at Vivica, looking at Vanessa, looking at these riders, and knowing the suffering. It's just really good fun. And then you start to it's like a poker game, right? Like, what are they revealing on those cameras? Some people might not want to be on camera because they know that they're actually revealing a little too much. And if they're not on camera, where will you look to find their efforts and how much they're feeling it is in that heart rate. So right now, Ben in front with the lowest heart rate of that group of 4, but Peter is also looking pretty good on that heart rate. So Shaq is almost maxed out here. So, she's going to be making sure she can hold on. She's in the front. It makes sense that her heart rate's a little bit higher. How long she can maintain that, it's all different physiological, based on the riders, based on their fitness. And that's where the power is pro power, but your fitness still counts. It's not just like, oh, okay, here you go, here's pro power. It's no, what? How long can you keep your heart rate that high? How many times can someone take a punch at your legs with an attack, and can you answer the call? How can you close down the gaps? All of those things are still at play here.
Additionally, all of the chakras of the participants are also balanced so that no one's chakra extends or is overbearing on someone else's chakra. But,
I think that's, I'm glad you brought the chakras up, because that's something that's the latest in sort of game strategy here is the chakra alignment. So
chakras are key.
Shaka raka raka. All right, so you've got your money on Ben. All of these riders, Ben has got an engine like nobody's business. He can just sort of hammer out the power forever. Same with Peter. So I'm wondering, in terms of their rider profile, if Christian, who we haven't seen his nose out in the front until just now, I wonder if Christian has some sprinting legs. Do you happen to know?
My sources tell me it's possible. 1.7 kilometers to go here. No one making any big moves. There may be a ramp up here to try to break this into a duo at some point. I would expect that it's not going to work. We'll see how folks are feeling. Oh, Peter feeling pretty good right there. He's taking big swipes there. Typically on rollers, if you're taking those big old pedal strokes, you're going to ramp up, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he's going to be able to convert that slow power to fast power. And here he goes, just like we planned it and rehearsed it before the show. With 1.2 kilometers to go, Ben is going to take off. Christian going to try to follow him. Peter now a second in the back. Sharon trying to catch on. Ben's trying to get that quintessential move. He's standing on those tiny tight pedals and trying to get up there, but he's not going to get a good escape. Christian's going to come with him. Christian should not go around him. What you need is the gap there, and for people to spend those matches to try to get back around. Slurp down those juice boxes of power. But it's just going to be the two of them. Peter's going to be able to catch on here. Shaq, I also believe, is going to be able to catch on here with half a kilometer to go. That's still a long way out. Ben, maybe just testing what kind of power does Christian have. I can see that. But they're getting ready to go here.
Yeah, Christian answered the call there on Ben's attack there to see who has some legs here. You can see that power coming back up, 800, 900, 1300. All those powers on the far right corner are going down. They are dropping the hammer here, and they are going to go around this corner, over the bridge to the finish line. Dig, 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 boys. Let's do it.
All right. Goodness.
Never say die. Put your head down and go. Oh, my God. They're back. Whoa.
Here we go. Oh, and somehow, inexplicably, Ben finishes 9th. Again, that's unfortunate. Being in the top three across the line, still finishes 9th.
Hop onto this. Mark, who did end up holding that position, doesn't look like Sebastian, Homer, and David and Kay are those are going to close it down. So Mark did an outstanding job of just maintaining the power. Didn't have a group to work with, so really spent it here. He has worked probably the hardest, if you were to say in terms of needing to not have anyone to work with, so good job to Mark. Here we go, right behind him, Homer and David said, no, not so easy, Mark. We see you. We're going to come around you at the end, sprinting for pride, but it wasn't enough. He comes across the line first, and side by side, Homer and David. Looks like David was the one that squeaked it out there, and Sebastian coming across the line for 8th. A little further down, we've got everyone still working, but this is the way it's shaking out on the leaderboard. Live results. Christian takes the W. Peter 2nd. Ben 3rd. And Shaq in the hold my drink spot. And Mark, is he complaining to the... yeah, I think that's what you had said to me. You educated me on.
Yep. He's talking to the officials, telling them how they need to clean it up. But Ben finishing strong there. Did not get the sprint that he necessarily wanted. Christian is like a lot of things. He's got a big top end and was able to just kind of throw that down. Peter maybe with the most impressive and artistic performance of the day, because watching him sprint on rollers, I'd have crashed in my closet about 30 seconds before the finish line there, trying to sprint on rollers. They're just so hard to control. So that's extra impressive, and only 22 hundredths behind Christian. I mean, look at how close all of that was. That's really impressive.
1, 2, 3 is just by just a fractions of a fractions here. So now race number 3 is a short 1.4 kilometers in distance, and barnyard velo, circles, hay bales, the barn, just obstacles all over the place. This is one that, although it's medium difficulty, you do 100% need to get into a rhythm, not overcook it, and choose your lane. 3 quantum shifts at our play, and the road surface is dirty wood, so it kind of gets extra slippery. So the speeds here might be a little bit unexpected for these racers.
Dirty wood is my favorite paint color right now. Also, Nicholas Sparks novel, one of my favorite games to play ever. Is it a paint color or Nicholas Sparks? Midnight Serenade.
Is it burnt umber? Burnt umber or burnt sienna? Yeah. Okay.
All right, they're going to kick it off. We're going to call this short race, 1.4 kilometers, the Ben Redemption Arc. Otherwise, he will cry the tears of regret into his pillow of remorse tonight. We do not want Ben to have that experience, and he's sitting in 4th right now. If they can really keep this tight together, they cannot slide out. They got to really watch that speed we were talking about before. We don't see their individual views right here, but they've got that speedometer that shows them when they're in danger, Will Robinson, and it's not happening. Broadcast getting lapped again, because that's not a real person. And Homer sitting right on that. Ben in 4th place, 1 second behind Christian now, who really is the bully on the playground who took his lunch money in that last race.
Yeah, and this is one where, in order to pass and to get around the rider, it's not just power. You need to know what lane. Renee, you need to know what lane you need to be in, because if you pass and you pass in the wrong lane, then you're going to get hay bale and you're going to go over your handlebars. So this is definitely something that it looks a lot simpler than it actually is. And once you get a little bit of traffic, it's very easy. Again, I think he's I don't know, maybe he's half asleep. Maybe he's trying to race it with his eyes closed.
Renee's new last name is Bandicoot, as far as I'm concerned. This crash brought to you by Twitter stock. Come on, Renee, stay on your bike.
On board here with Erhan, and you can see the focus in his face. This is definitely, again, these riders are, anticipating the turns, not just watching the speeds, but knowing where those hay bales are going to pop up, knowing how they want to pass. You can see him lapping Renee here on board with Sebastian now, who's in first place with Homer right on his tail. 0.1 kilometers to go here. They are coming onto the finish. I think Sebastian, if he doesn't make a mistake, he's going to be able to come across the line first. Homer right behind him. He has one chance to get around him with those hay bales. He's getting blocked in, and he wasn't able to come around in time on the corner. So if you're in that second wheel position on that last corner, you need to move to the outside so that you can actually have a clear lane and just punch it to the end. But it's definitely a move of a surgeon, not a move of I don't know, hamburger helper?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So Ben hangs on and gets that third position again, showing that he's strong enough to be here. But if we remember correctly, Sebastian has taken all of these super technical courses and really just kind of planted his flag there and owned them. Sebastian Kuhn, kind of the king of the technical. Ben sticks around for this one, does not fall to ninth. Renee, despite 71 crashes in 1.4 kilometers, ends up in the top 10. Congrats to him.
Congrats to all the racers: Sebastian, Homer, Ben, Christian, Frank, Peter, Shaq, Renee, Erhan, David, and Kay today in race 3. So that was some good racing. 2 shorter races with a long race in between. So a nice little sandwich of racing today. And as we take a look at the final standings, take us through, Doc.
Department working overtime to get those done. Race 1, the first win for Vanessa Marahan. Great job.
Woo!
Sebastian
Cue the
in
applause.
that second position. Yes, Christian in that third position, and I believe it was it Ben in ninth? I'm trying to remember. We'll look it up later. It'll make
it's hard
the
to know, but I just remember it was
the
course he designed.
Yeah. That's right. The course he designed. Christian, Peter, and Ben in race 2, and then Sebastian, Homer, and Ben in race 3. Homer's done a really nice job on those technical courses as well. Doesn't overcook and crash. But this was a great trio of races, great playlist. Fun to see all these folks out there getting serious, but also having fun.
Yeah, and it's also having fun, and it was really cool to see sort of those tactics, more traditional race tactics on that longer course in the middle. Didn't see a lot of crashing, but we did see sort of people working together, benefiting from that draft. Except for Mark, sorry you missed out, buddy. But there's another race another day, so maybe we'll have some racing next week. Are you down to clown with me, Doc?
I'm down to clown. You know it.
Love it. All right, I love it. Well, I appreciate the time with you, sitting in the pen here, talking smack about our riders and enjoying
people
every
in
minute
chat
of
saying,
it.
"No, down to clown doesn't mean what you think it means." No, we decide what it means. We decide.
That's just because I'm 100 years old and I just don't see anything other than, what do the kids say? I don't know. All right. Well, I think we are going to get onto the translator of acronyms for teenagers. I don't know. All right. Well, Doc, hopefully we'll do this again. For all of you watching us, thanks for racing and watching the racing, and we will see you next time. Maybe same time.
Renee, stay on your bike.
Ben, keep making great courses.
Yeah.
We'll
and then ride them once in a while. See ya.